So I think I might have made a minor revelation in relation to intrusive thoughts and how to manage them, or like at least begin to manage them. And I know I made a video about intrusive thoughts before, so you might want to watch that one before this one. I'll link that. But um one thing that I had mentioned in that video was that in various sources and in the inpatient therapy program that I was in, they were saying when intrusive thoughts come, don't entertain them, but don't push them away. And I didn't understand that. I was like, how are you supposed to just like control it? And they were saying just let it be in the back of your mind and don't actively think about it. And I was like so confused on how that would work. But recently, when I started having intrusive thoughts and I would I could feel myself either thinking about it or like not thinking about it or pushing it away. And I definitely did feel things getting worse if I did either of the extremes. But what made them less meaningful in my mind and less bothersome was, like they say, have it be there but not actively think about it. And I'm gonna talk about how that actually felt like and how that worked for me. So here we go. So when I talk about this idea of not entertaining the thoughts but not pushing them away, when an intrusive thought comes, it's like not your thought. It kind of just appears out of nowhere. And it's hard to explain, I guess, but when this happened to me, it was almost like I could create a little barricade in my mind where there's the section of my mind that I'm actively thinking about, and then a section of my brain where all the other thoughts occur. And I feel like in multiple different situations, I've had just random thoughts going on in my head that I wasn't actively thinking about. And I think that there are definitely different meditation practices that help you kind of distance yourself from thoughts that aren't in your control, if that makes sense. So, what I'm talking about here is like every time, okay, for me, I get intrusive thoughts about memories from the past and just different things that I felt embarrassed about or shameful about, and these would just pop into my head and kind of stay around. And even after one passed, another one would come like not too long later. So like every time that would happen, um, it's weird because I could just let it be there but not think about it, and I could feel the thought in the back of my head, but I wasn't having the emotional reaction to it because I wasn't actively thinking about it. And I think this really helped me like get through like this little situation that I've had in the last couple weeks where I've just been thinking about a lot of negative things and being stressed out about a lot of other things. I think it actually started with a lot of intrusive thoughts just coming out of nowhere, keeping me up at night and stuff. And it's hard to fight intrusive thoughts because of their nature. Like, the more you try to get rid of them, the more they hang around. So, the best way for you, me, anybody to get rid of them, or at least have them have minimal impact on your life, is to find a way to create that barrier in your mind where the thoughts are there, but you're not thinking about it. if that makes sense. Because, like I've been saying, when you're actively thinking about something, you're taking a thought that you already have and adding on to it. You're interacting with it, you're having emotional reactions to it. But when something's just in your mind, it doesn't have that same effect. So that was the whole method, I guess. And the second part of this video is just gonna be a couple of embarrassing stories that often pop up in my intrusive thoughts, if you guys want to stick around for that. It's pretty recent. I think I've gotten over a few of the stuff from way back in my past, but this one, I feel like, even though it was only a couple years ago, I still haven't. You might have heard me talk about it before, but in one of my manic episodes, I signed up for ballet again, and I hadn't really been to a ballet class since like 6th grade, and I'm now 23. So I think I was 20 or 21 at the time. I went to this academy and I signed up to take classes, but I was actually taking classes with people who were way younger than me and who were in high school, and it was just generally an academy for people who hadn't graduated high school yet, because it's like they just move on after that. But looking back, I should have signed up for an adult class somewhere else or whatever, but this is what I did. And in one of my classes is like ballet 3, and I was with a bunch of young kids, and I had actually torn my ACL like almost right before the recital, and I decided that I was still gonna do the recital. I had a solo. I was also having a lot of trouble learning my part because at that point I had been in the depressive side of things, and I was just like, my memory was not there. I was anxious all the time. I could not do it, and I was having so much trouble. So by the time the recital rolled around, I had it together for the most part, and I had one part where I was supposed to like kind of go up on one leg, and since I had a torn ACL, my teacher had just told me, skip that part. But the thing was, like, the sequence was symmetrical, basically, or whatever. So it was like I was supposed to do one side, then the other, and I just skipped the left side because it's what she said to do, and then moved on. But everybody knew it. They were probably like, oh, she messed up. And I also did a thing where I went too far up onto the stage and kind of walked onto the part that I wasn't supposed to walk on. It made a loud thump, and it just was all around bad. It was a large stage, a large audience. I was really embarrassed, and I knew that everybody knew that it didn't go according to plan. And I'm still embarrassed about that to this day. I think that, like, I just would not get over that. And, I don't even really want to think about that. I don't want to think about going back there. I didn't even let my mom buy the DVD for the show. And I was just like, I don't want to have anything to do with this in the future. I'm done. But this intrusive thought keeps coming back to me, where it just, like, the memory pops back into my mind, and then I feel embarrassed about it for a second, but then I can, like, put up that barrier, put it in the back compartment of my brain where it's still there, but I can't think about it. And I'm not actively interacting with the thought, and it's fine. So that's just one of those things that I feel like always pops back for me. I have a few other ones. honestly, that one is really bad. I used to also get really embarrassed about things that happened at U of I in 2017. I would say that I'm mostly over that by this point. Um, there's just a lot of things going on in your mind, and especially for people with bipolar disorder. People with bipolar have like manic shame, I call it, and it's just like things that you do when you're manic just become really embarrassing, and things you don't want to think about when you come back down. And when you're depressed, you often think about the things that you did, and it like exacerbates the depression. And I am going to make another video in the future about manic shame, because I feel like that's an important topic, but that is for another time, and I will see you all later.